Why does it look like this? It looks like kind of dark. Am I tripping? Does it look kind of dark? Okay, so this is Tyler, the creator, is facing the reality of his fan base.
Now, Tyler the Creator is currently experiencing one of the harshest realizations any artist can face: the reality of the audience he built. If you've been on social media these last few days, you've probably seen Tyler the Creator's name getting dragged all over the timeline. A lot of people still don't understand what's actually happening right now, because this isn't just about a couple old tweets resurfacing. It's not even about a disrespectful comment section. It's really about what happens when your own fan base, the one that made you famous, grows into something you can no longer control. And Tyler is in the middle of that fire right now. In this video, I'm not only going to recap the drama, but I'm also going to show you guys why this moment is actually terrifying for any artist, but especially a black artist with a massive non-black audience, and why Tyler might be living through the exact consequences he spent the last decade trying to avoid. Now, Tyler the Creator is a name or face I think almost everybody recognizes by this point. He's been in the music game for over 15 years, ever since the early Odd Future days, back when he was loud, rebellious, and unapologetically weird. And over that time, he's gone on to build one of the most loyal and cult-like fan bases in modern music. However, that same fan base is now at the center of a major dilemma. Tyler has been in serious hot water these last few days, and it all started with something incredibly innocent: a tribute post to the legendary neo-soul icon D'Angelo, who recently passed away from pancreatic cancer. Tyler put up a heartfelt post honoring his legacy on Instagram, and instead of treating it with the seriousness it deserved, a portion of his fan base flooded the comments asking when he was going to drop music, and essentially saying things completely unrelated to the tribute, and they weren't acknowledging the loss. They weren't even present in the moment with him. Tyler eventually turned the comment section off, and that's when the situation took a turn, because shortly after he liked a tweet on Twitter that said, and I quote, "Tyler's fanbase hates black music despite Tyler himself having a very deep love and appreciation for it. Nigga has Charlie Wilson, Erykah Badu, and DJ Drama, etc. collaborations, and they still refuse to engage with black art on any meaningful level. Very cannibalistic." So the tweet was basically saying Tyler's own fanbase benefits from black culture because that's what he is. He's black and he's a product of it, right? But they don't actually respect or engage with black culture itself. In other words, they love Tyler's aesthetics, his personality, his influence, but not the actual roots of the art he comes from. And right after liking it, Tyler fired back with a tweet of his own where he said, "These Sun Dodgers are out of control, man." He ended up deleting this tweet, by the way, but if you're not familiar with the term, it's another way of saying white people. Now here's where things flipped, okay? Because almost instantly, the spotlight turned back onto Tyler himself. The internet didn't just criticize the fans, they started scrutinizing Tyler's past. And it sparked a conversation about the exact type of audience he has cultivated. And the focus shifted from his fans are being disrespectful to, no, wait a second, you created them. A lot of the criticism was centered around this exact idea, that Tyler made this kind of behavior feel acceptable inside his own fan base. Because let's be honest, most of us remember the early Odd Future era. Tyler's music, his skits, even his tweets. That era of Tyler was extremely loud, edgy, and a lot of times offensive on purpose. And now those old tweets are resurfacing again, tweets that Tyler himself has actually been deleting in real time over the past few days. For example, here's one that started spreading everywhere. "I hate Black History Month. Why the F do you have to fucking separate niggas still?" Now there are a bunch of other tweets that people started digging up, but that's just one that ended up going super viral. So that's where the tone of the conversation changed completely, right? Now Tyler has faced this type of backlash before, but this time I think this one is definitely different, because for the first time, the outrage wasn't just about what he said in the past, it was directly tied to the people he speaks to right now. It wasn't just Tyler's fan base are being disrespectful, it became, no. This is actually your fault. That Tyler didn't just attract this kind of audience, he helped shape them. Through the early Odd Future era, the shock value, the edgy jokes, the reckless tweets, people are now arguing that Tyler normalized this behavior in his fan base that made it feel acceptable to laugh at black pain, to mock black issues, to consume black culture without ever truly respecting it or trying to understand it. And let's be real, Tyler's fan base has always been majority white, especially in the early Odd Future era. 90% of his audience back then was young white males who were chronically online, who loved that edgy, chaotic energy he was giving them. Yes, black kids were there too, but what really blew him up at first was that wave of white internet kids who felt like they finally had, permission to be wild and say anything in the name of being edgy. But over the years, as Tyler has evolved as an artist and stepped further into his creative maturity, his audience has obviously expanded. At this point, Tyler speaks to everybody: teenagers, middle-aged white women, black fans, Hispanic fans, older people, fashion kids, music nerds, and so forth. His reach is not only massive, but his fan base is way more diverse than it was 10 years ago, right? However, the internet doesn't care about evolution, it cares about origin. And that's exactly where the backlash went. So now Tyler is basically being held accountable for creating the very behavior he's now denouncing. People are calling him hypocritical, saying you can't complain about the same people who made you famous. And on the other hand, some of those white fans are looking at it like, wait, what? You made it okay for us to act like this, right? It's almost like a kid in a grocery store acting all wild, and the mom tries to suddenly calm him down, and the kid looks at her like, calm down, this is how you raised me. Except for the fact that these aren't 8-year-olds. These are people between, I would estimate, 20 and 26 years old at this point, maybe 18, 24, 26, somewhere there, if I had to make a rough estimation, right? Some of them have literally grown up on Tyler since 2011. They were 12-year-olds laughing at the edgy Odd Future era, and now they're fully grown adults. However, still wired the same exact way, and that's what's being exposed right now. So Tyler is now being forced to face the reality that's a very big part of his own creation. But at the same time, this isn't something he can fully control, right? These are real individuals making their own decisions about how they choose to show up, regardless of whether Tyler contributed to shaping that behavior during his younger years. The truth is, Tyler is 34 years old as of today, right? He's not the same man he was back then when Odd Future first blew up. He's evolved into something far more intentional, thoughtful, and artistically refined. Because like many black artists, Tyler didn't just make music. He became an entry point into black culture for an entire generation. And at the same time, he became a home for black kids who never felt like they fit anywhere. Too black for the white kids and too white for the blacks. Earl Sweatshirt said that once. And it stuck with a lot of people, including myself. Artists like Tyler and Earl, right, have become more than just celebrities. They became a voice for people who never had one. But here's where things get complicated, because the same people Tyler represents racially are not the same people contributing to his pockets monetarily. And that matters because Tyler isn't just an artist. He's a black artist, and the black experience comes with a very specific type of weight and responsibility. You don't just stay a musician for long. The moment you start influencing the culture and the world, you unintentionally become an educator in a lot of ways, or a reference point, if you will, an entry point into blackness itself, especially for people outside of it. And a lot of non-black kids grew up on Tyler, not just because he was wild and unfiltered, not just because he was saying things they couldn't say, but because he gave them access to a world they were never fully a part of. But that's where things get a little bit blurry, right? Because in Tyler's early years, his entire identity was built on, I don't care, I can say whatever I want. And when you build your brand on that, you naturally remove the boundaries for the people supporting you, and people stop knowing what's satire and what's an actual reflection of how you view your own people, right? And once that line is gone, they stop treating it like art and start treating the way you move like permission. And to Tyler's own flaw, I don't think he fully understood the weight of that back then. He was just being himself. He wasn't trying to be a cultural ambassador. But as he evolved, his music evolved as well. And Flower Boy in 2017 was the turning point. That was the album where everything shifted for Tyler. The first time he fully embraced vulnerability, softness, introspection. And that was also around the time he seemingly came out the closet, right? With lines like, I've been kissing white boys in 2004. It marked the beginning of a whole new era. One where Tyler became the embodiment of the same freedom he once used to mock. And that's something a lot of artists struggle with. You lean into something early on to stand out, and you attract people who fall in love with that version of you. But later, when you grow and evolve, mature, a part of your audience refuses to come with you on that journey. So now the question becomes, to what extent should Tyler be held accountable for cultivating an audience like this in the first place? That's a question I have to you, because he doesn't really have the authority to control how they show up. That part of his fan base, in my opinion, is a virus he's never going to be able to fully contain. How I look at it is, at the end of the day, it comes down to the individuals who made the decision not to grow with him. And I genuinely believe a big portion of his audience, even if they'll always call themselves fans, will never actually evolve with him. They'll most likely permanently stay stuck in that era they discovered him in. Meanwhile, Tyler himself evolved far past their pace and far past their expectations. And in 2025, it's clear he's not even remotely the same person he was back then. So, we literally change as human beings on a day-to-day basis. Our habits change, our mindset changes, our identity shift in every single second, even our bodies on a cellular level, right? And Tyler's evolution as an artist has shifted completely from where he started. And he obviously knows that. But to his own right, he refuses to be caged into a version of himself he's already outgrown. And the truth is, Tyler is never going to be able to fully escape the accusations tied to the fact that he once mocked his own people back then, right? Even if you looked at it as he was trolling or if you looked at it as he was hateful, doesn't really matter, right? At the end of the day, he helped lower the boundary for how far his own fans felt like they could go. And the reality is, that is a part of his story, history now. No matter how uncomfortable that past may look in hindsight, at some point you still have to face the reality of your own creation, even if you're no longer that person anymore, right? And no matter how much criticism he continues to get, I truly believe this is a battle Tyler will always have to fight. And the only real way to fight it, if you ask me, is not by debating the internet, which he's obviously not doing right now, but it's by firmly reminding the world and himself that he is not the same man he once used to be.
Now, I seen an interview about Tyler. He was in a somebody was interviewing him. I forgot what interview or what video it was, but I heard him explain that he's continuing to evolve with himself and within his music, and like each day, he knows that he's not gonna be the same person. He's um not gonna stick to, making the same thing all the time. Like so far as him first starting music and then where he's at now, it really shows how much he's came up and how much he's evolved from his music and within himself. But he described how each day he continues to evolve and he's not the same person he was yesterday. So he continues to be in that perception of himself to be better and to keep evolving. And that should be with everybody else too. It just seems like everybody else is still kind of like used to, or just like they want to stay in this perception of somebody they used to be, or they like an artist, or they like somebody who they used to be, instead of evolving, instead of like growing, instead of sticking to something that's different. Not only is it different, but but like what he said in the video, it's more of just, getting better. It's about getting stronger, but people don't seem to want to come across to that unless they are stuck, or unless they are in a cage, unless they still don't like change or evolution. In my opinion, Tyler is a really, really great black artist, in my opinion. So far as I really haven't really listened to his old stuff compared to his like new stuff. I mean, I'm kind of in the middle of it, like his most recent, music and his old music. I kind of been in the middle, but I kind of do listen to some of his new music. But regardless if it's old, if it's new, why would you not want to change? Why would you not? Why would you want to? Why would you want to remain the same? Because it gets to a point where like it just leaves you trapped. It just leaves you trapped. It leaves you stuck. It leaves you still. It will just leave you stagnant instead of going up. But it could also bring you down too. It could be stagnant, or it could go just completely downhill, or it could just go up. But this is what people want to see. But you'll just be trapped. You'll just be in a cage at that point, because you're not continuing to move. You're not continuing to grow within yourself. You're not trying to, become a better version of yourself, positively, at that. Whether his music is old or new, I still love Tyler. I still love him as I love him as an artist. I still enjoy his music, whether his junk is old or not, whether his junk is old or new. It doesn't change the fact that he should make the same music, or he should make better music. It doesn't change my opinion on that.